Greetings out there in YouTube land. This is Morris, man. And as always, I thank you guys for coming to my channel. Now, a few of you might be thinking, it's been almost 4 days since Morris Man uploaded a video. Are you sick? Are you dead? And actually, I've been sick for like the last 4 days. I rarely ever get sick, you know, and that's because the things that I did 20 years ago are kicking in now. The fact that I never drank, never smoked, never did drugs is paying dividends now in my later years. And like I said, I rarely ever get sick. And I was so sick the last 2 days, I was in the bed. And that was my body way of saying you need to rest, dude, because, we're dealing with some flu-like symptoms or flu issues. So we need to keep you in bed and have you drink plenty of water. So that's what I did. So I thank the people that wish me well when they've emailed me and said, are you okay? Haven't heard from you. So I'm okay, getting better. Not 100%, but I'm getting there. So I just want to acknowledge that. And I'm going to entitle this video Life's Observations, because that's all they are, my observations on things. And I was just recently in a hoagie shop picking up dinner for me and the missus. And this guy came in. And it's always good to see a young black man, men in general, but to see a young black man, because black men these days, a lot of them get a bad rap as far as, they're not trying to do nothing, they're making a bunch of babies. And that's partially true, but there's reasons behind the nonsense. Because when you don't do your job, you can't expect your kids to do their job when they become parents. So this guy came in. He had to be probably in his, I would say, late 20s. And he had his daughter, beautiful girl. She's like about maybe 2 years old. And what happens when most of us that are parents see that, it triggers memories of when your daughter was that little. And it triggered the memories when my daughter was that little. And I used to literally carry her every place. And you miss those days because my daughter now is in college. And you don't understand until you become a parent when your parents say, I hated to see you grow up. And initially, you kind of took that as a negative statement when actually it's not. They're just saying that they enjoyed the time when you were that little and just could have wished it could have lasted forever. So he came in and I noticed how everybody perked up and their demeanor changed, because there was this one gentleman in line, the last in line, to pick up his food. And he just kind of had this, dark look about himself. He was kind of frowning. There was nothing about his physical out were the parents that made it look like he was in a good mood. So when the young guy came in with his daughter, he had a smile on his face because everybody loves kids, And the gentleman put his daughter down, and she was looking at candy in the candy machine, and she was reaching for it. And the older gentleman said, I remember those days with my daughter, she gave me that face and all that. And the younger guy was agreeing, yeah, I'm going through that with my little one here. And the girl looked up at the older guy and said this. And again, mind you, this girl couldn't have been no more than 2. She looked up at him and said, mind your business. I was like, whoa. And some people didn't catch it in the store because, they couldn't make out really what she was saying. But I heard it loud and clear. Matter of fact, she said it twice. And I said to myself, here is what I see. Your kids are a perfect example of you, because I look at kids like computers. It's whatever you put in them is what's ever coming out. So the fact that she made that statement, and it was in a hostile statement from a 2-year-old, that she's in an environment of hostile people, because your kids pick up what they hear you say and the people around them. It's just plain and simple. It doesn't take a genius or a master's degree in psychology to figure that one out. So unfortunately, it's like we living in a generation now where there's just a lot of hostility. And I remember, and I give you a good example of that, and it's pretty, I guess, unsettling. Chicago was always in the news about the violence, and they really made the news a couple of days ago when these 4 idiots decided to kidnap this mentally challenged white guy. And they streamed live on Facebook of them torturing him, sticking him with a knife, cutting his hair off, cutting his scalp. And when they showed the 4 assailants. Two of them were women. And I'm saying to myself, 20 years ago, if it was 4 people, it would have been 4 guys. Women or young girls never got involved on a large scale of being violent towards other people. But now our young women are just as violent as our young men. And that's alarming observation to me, because again, when I was growing up, the majority of the girls might have got into a fight with another girl because you looking at my boyfriend. That's it. That was the extent of the violence, or the mayhem. Now is I'm going into stores stealing. I'm baiting these guys and robbing people, along with these guys that are a part of this. I'm a part of this. And you ask yourself, why is this going on? And there's no one answer to that question. But what I notice is this. It starts really early in your life as a child, as far as the people that are around you, which brings me back to the observation of today. This little girl that's not even 2 years old yet, or maybe 2 at the most, she's hostile enough to make a stance and make a statement. Mind your business. I'm like, we could have not said that when we were teenagers, in our household, because we would have got reprimanded. We would have known not to say that. And in our household, our parents made it a point to not say things around our children that they shouldn't be exposed to at that point in their lives. Because, of course, when you grow up, you develop a tougher skin to deal with society, because you have to. You can't stay in a childlike state in the lion's dog-eat-dog world. You can't. You be ate up and swallowed and spit out. So, there's a time when you start to develop and have to start to, have those types of behavior patterns to say, hey, this is a hostile situation, so I have to meet it with hostility too. I can't show weakness, but, that's just my observation for the day. I was just kind of floored when I heard her look at this and this gal was like 6'2". She's like, mind your business. I was like, whoa, I thank God I grew up in the area that I did. Till next time, take care. Thanks for watching.